The message came without warning. Across every city, every home, every street on Earth, the same words burned into the sky. Obey, or perish. People froze where they stood, staring up at giant holograms that flickered in the clouds. The voice that spoke was not human. It was deep, cold, and heavy, like the sound of stone grinding against stone. It carried no emotion. It carried only command. In control rooms, governments tried to decode it, but there was no code. The voice was everywhere. The source was unknown. Satellites scanned the skies but only caught shadows moving beyond the orbit of the moon. The alien presence was real, and it was close. For hours, the world argued. Some leaders wanted peace, to kneel if it meant survival. Others shouted that humanity should resist. Ordinary people prayed, cried, and waited for answers. But in every heart, one question repeated like thunder. What if the warning was real? What if the end had already begun? Above the blue skies of Earth, fleets of alien ships were waiting. Their hulls were black as night, their weapons hidden behind layers of glowing armor. They had done this before. Planet after planet had fallen under their command. First came the message. Then came obedience, or fire. The Council of the Empire believed Earth would be no different. To them, humans were primitive, a young species that had barely touched the stars. They expected fear, they expected begging. What they received was silence. For 3 days after the ultimatum, Earth gave no answer. No surrender. No promise. No word. Alien generals laughed at this. They thought it was arrogance. They thought it was ignorance. They thought humans did not understand what was coming. But the truth was darker. Humanity understood too well. In a bunker under the mountains, human leaders gathered. The air was tense, thick with the sound of machines and the smell of metal. Generals, scientists, presidents, and prime ministers sat at a long table. On the wall behind them, the alien message repeated, "Obey, or perish." No one spoke for a long time. Finally, one man broke the silence. If we kneel, Earth becomes a farm for them. If we fight, billions will die. And if we do nothing, the same end will come. His words echoed in the chamber. A woman, her face pale but her voice steady, replied, "Then maybe the choice is not obey or perish. Maybe it is something else." The room grew colder. No one asked her to explain. They all understood. Humanity would not kneel. Humanity would not die quietly. Somewhere deep inside the planet, hidden weapons were being prepared. Prototypes, secret projects, desperate designs. Machines built not for conquest, but survival. Humanity had always fought with whatever it could build. Fire against beasts. Iron against armies. Now it would be steel and code against an empire of the stars. But the danger was greater than anyone could imagine. The empire was not one species. It was many. Dozens of alien races bound together under one law: obey the council or perish. Their fleets numbered in the millions. Their weapons had ended civilizations. Against this, Earth had only its will. Yet sometimes, will is enough to turn survival into victory. On the 4th day, the sky over Earth changed. The alien fleets moved into position, black dots growing into massive shapes as they entered low orbit. The world looked up, terrified. Children clung to parents. Soldiers stood ready at bases. Pilots sat inside cockpits, waiting for the order that might be their last. The message came again, louder, sharper. This is your final warning. Kneel before the council. Submit your leaders. Give your armies, or your world will burn. The words vibrated in every bone. But still, Earth answered with silence. The alien commanders were confused. No species had ever ignored them this long. Some thought humans were too afraid to speak. Others believed humans were so weak that they did not understand what was happening. Only one commander, older than the rest, stared at the silent planet with unease. "They are not weak," he whispered. They are waiting. His warning was ignored. Orders were given. Weapons charged. The first invasion wave prepared to strike. On Earth, sirens wailed across cities. Lights dimmed as power grids shifted to military control. In the bunker, human leaders rose from their seats. One of them placed a hand on the table and said only 2 words, "Let them." The room went silent. Everyone knew what he meant. The invasion was coming, and humanity would not stop it. They would endure the first strike, and then, they would answer. The world held its breath. The skies above glowed red as alien ships opened fire. The war had begun. The fleets surrounded Earth like a ring of fire. Millions of eyes from every corner of the planet looked up, watching the dark shapes blot out the stars. Alien warships, silent and motionless, drifted above the blue sphere. Their weapons were ready. Their soldiers waited. The galaxy held its breath, expecting Earth to kneel at last. But Earth remained silent. No surrender, no message, no word. To the Empire, this silence was a joke. To humanity, it was a weapon. Inside the command halls of the alien flagship, the generals argued. Some demanded immediate destruction. Others wanted to give the humans one last chance. The Council had conquered many worlds, but never had they faced a species that simply ignored them. It unsettled them in ways they would never admit. They are afraid, one general spat. They hide behind silence. Strike now. Another shook his head. No. This is pride. They think their planet can resist us. They must be shown the truth. Let them break before we burn them. Their leader, a towering alien with silver skin and black eyes, raised his hand. Enough. We will not destroy yet. We will wait. Let them feel fear. Fear makes obedience sweeter. And so the fleets held their fire. Hours passed. Then days. On Earth, this silence felt like thunder. The people lived beneath shadows that never moved, the sky painted with shapes too large to ignore. Cities grew quiet. Streets emptied. Families huddled in homes, waiting for the first strike. But the strike never came. Instead, governments worked in the dark. Underground bases came alive with activity. Scientists ran from lab to lab. Engineers pushed prototypes out of storage. Soldiers drilled in hidden camps, preparing for a war the rest of the galaxy believed impossible. Humanity's silence was not weakness, it was time. Time to finish what had been started in secret years ago. Deep under the oceans, submarines carried weapons that had never been tested. In mountain bunkers, machines hummed with strange energy. Satellites armed themselves with payloads no enemy had ever seen. Earth was preparing not just to survive, but to fight. And yet the silence was dangerous. Ordinary people began to break under the weight of waiting. Panic spread in whispers. Why do our leaders say nothing? Why do we wait while death floats above us? Some believed Earth had already lost, that the silence was cowardice. Others believed the leaders were planning something so bold it could not yet be revealed. In space, the alien soldiers waited too. Many had fought against species who begged for mercy, who cried as their worlds burned. But these humans said nothing. No crying, no begging, no deals. Just silence. Whispers spread among the lower ranks of the alien army. What are they planning? Why do they not respond? One young soldier asked his captain, "Sir, do you think they are afraid?" The captain looked at Earth's oceans glittering in the dark and shook his head. Afraid? No. They are planning something. I can feel it. But the generals above ignored the warnings. To them, silence was weakness. To them, Earth was already theirs. Still, doubt crept into their minds. Because silence can be louder than screams. On the 5th day, the Empire sent another broadcast. The words boomed into every city, every home, every heart. You have one last chance. Kneel or burn. The world trembled, but Earth still gave no answer. The Empire's leader slammed his claw against the command table. Enough games. If they want silence, we will answer with fire. Orders spread through the fleets. Weapons unlocked. Shields flared. Millions of soldiers prepared for invasion. Yet even then, Earth said nothing. In underground chambers, human leaders watched the alien fleets shift into battle formations. Generals leaned over maps, their voices sharp but controlled. They are moving. We have hours at most. A commander turned to the Council of Leaders. We cannot stop the first strike. Cities will fall. People will die. But we can survive. If we hold the silence a little longer, the trap will close. The leaders nodded grimly. They knew the cost. The silence had bought them time, but that time would soon end. Above, alien ships descended lower, their shadows stretching across continents. The first missiles were being armed. Soldiers tightened their grips on weapons. Pilots prepared to launch into skies already burning with anticipation. Humanity's trap was not yet ready, but it would be. And the silence, the unbearable silence, would break with fire. In the final moments before the storm, a child in one city looked up at the sky and whispered, "Why don't they answer?" His mother held him close, her eyes wet with fear, and said, "Because the answer is not ready yet." In orbit, the alien fleets roared to life. Engines blazed. Weapons locked on targets. The countdown to destruction had begun. And still, Earth said nothing. The storm was coming, but the silence was not weakness. It was the calm before humanity's strike. The sky burned red when the first alien missiles entered the atmosphere. People across Earth watched as fire trails streaked downward like falling stars, but there was no beauty in it, only terror. Explosions lit the night as cities shook, buildings crumbled, and the ground trembled beneath the weight of war. Children screamed, alarms wailed, and soldiers rushed to their stations. The war had arrived, and humanity could no longer stay silent. Anti-air defenses fired upward, streaks of light cutting across the sky, but the alien weapons were powerful, built to crush entire civilizations. In the command bunkers, human generals spoke in quick voices, issuing orders that could mean life or death. Hold your fire until the signal. Let them think we are weak. Outside, chaos reigned, but in the shadows, a plan was waiting. Alien commanders smiled as the first wave struck. They expected Earth to break, to beg, to kneel at last. But when the smoke cleared, they saw something different. Entire cities were scarred, but not destroyed. Entire armies stood ready, not broken. Humanity had absorbed the first strike, and survived. In the sky above, human fighter jets streaked upward like angry arrows. Old aircraft, but modified with strange new weapons that glowed with unfamiliar energy. They tore into the alien drones, ripping through their armor in ways the aliens did not understand. "Impossible," one alien captain muttered as his screen showed losses rising. "These are primitives. They should not stand." But they did. On the ground, missile batteries hidden in mountains opened fire, launching salvos that pierced through alien shields. Satellites released weapons disguised as space junk, slamming into warships with devastating force. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's fleets hesitated. A captured transmission revealed their shock. This world does not fall like the others. This world resists. In orbit, alien generals ordered the fleets to push harder. More missiles rained, more soldiers deployed. Drop pods fell like meteors, striking the ground with thunder. Out of the wreckage poured alien warriors, tall and armored, carrying weapons that hummed with deadly light. Human soldiers met them in the streets, rifles blazing, voices raised in defiance. The fighting was brutal. Every block became a battlefield. Every house, a fortress. Humanity bled, but it did not bow. One city after another caught fire, yet within the flames, resistance grew. Civilians threw stones, hacked into alien systems, sabotaged supply lines. Farmers armed themselves. Students carried messages for fighters. Everyone, from the youngest to the oldest, joined the struggle. and then something happened that no one expected. In the skies above, a massive alien warship, one that had fired upon Earth with devastating force, suddenly flickered and went dark. Its weapons shut down, its engines failed. The crew panicked, unable to explain what had happened. Moments later, humans swarmed the falling ship, breaching its hull with machines designed in secret. The impossible became reality. Humanity had captured an alien warship. The news spread across Earth like fire in the wind. For the first time, people cheered amid the chaos. For the first time, hope rose above fear. In the alien fleet, silence filled the command chambers. No species had ever done this. None had ever taken one of their ships intact. They should be begging, one general growled. Instead, they are stealing our weapons. But another spoke with unease. This silence, this defiance, this capture, these humans are not like the others. On Earth, scientists rushed to study the alien warship. Its technology was far beyond human understanding, yet some systems clicked into place as if they had been waiting for human hands. Engineers whispered that maybe the aliens had underestimated more than just human courage, they had underestimated human genius. Meanwhile, the battle raged on. Fires consumed cities, rivers ran dark, and the sky was thick with smoke. Yet amid the destruction, humanity did not fall apart. It grew stronger. Soldiers fought harder. Civilians grew braver. And in hidden bunkers, the captured ship's secrets began to unlock. Above Earth, alien generals screamed for more reinforcements. Armadas shifted closer. The Council demanded victory at once. But victory was no longer simple. The humans had taken the first blow and lived. They had shown teeth. They had drawn blood. And now they had a weapon of the Empire itself. In one hidden chamber, a human commander looked at the screens showing fire across the world and whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning." Outside, the skies glowed red, the ground shook, and the war raged on. Humanity had been struck with fire, but fire had not broken them. Fire had awakened them. The alien prisoner sat inside a reinforced chamber, his armor torn, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Chains bound his arms, though everyone in the room knew chains alone could not hold him if he truly wished to escape. Yet he did not move. He only stared at the humans standing across the table, silent, unblinking, his expression unreadable. Around him, soldiers kept their rifles raised, their fingers tense on the triggers. The battle outside still raged, but here in this underground bunker, a different kind of war was beginning, the war of knowledge. The prisoner had been taken from the warship humanity had captured, a warship that should have been impossible to bring down. He had fought like a machine, precise and unyielding, before finally being overwhelmed. Now he was the first living alien ever to sit before humanity. For hours he had refused to speak. No threats, no answers, no cries of pain. Just silence. Some thought he was waiting for rescue. Others believed he was mocking them. But the human commander leading the interrogation, a man with tired eyes and a scar across his cheek, believed differently. He leaned forward, meeting the prisoner's gaze without fear. "Your fleets burn our skies. Your weapons fall on our cities. And yet you sit here, silent. Why?" The alien's eyes narrowed, but his lips did not move. The commander continued, his voice steady. "You think we are weak. You think we are like the others you conquered. But we are not them. We are not broken. We will fight until nothing is left. You know this already, don't you?" For the first time, the prisoner shifted. His claws tapped against the table, slow, deliberate. His voice, when it came, was low and heavy, filled with something that sounded almost like regret. "You do not understand what stands against you. Your fight is meaningless." The soldiers in the room stiffened at the sound of his words, but the commander only leaned closer. "Then explain it. Make me understand." The alien's eyes glowed brighter as he spoke again. "The Empire is endless. Do you hear me, human? Endless. It is not one fleet. Not one army. It is 1,000 species bound under the council. Their ships blot out suns. Their soldiers fill planets. You cannot win. His words fell like thunder in the chamber, but the commander did not flinch. Instead, he smiled faintly. And yet here you are, a soldier of this endless empire, sitting in chains. So tell me, if victory is so certain, why do I see fear in your eyes? The alien growled, but the growl faded into silence. Finally, after a long pause, he spoke again, his voice lower now, almost a whisper. Fear, yes. But not fear of you. Fear of what will come if you resist. No world has ever fought us like this. No world has ever taken one of our ships. The Council will not forgive this insult. They will not stop until Earth is ashes. The humans in the room exchanged uneasy glances. The commander's smile faded, but his eyes grew harder. Then we will not stop either. The alien tilted his head, studying him with strange curiosity. You are different. Most species beg. Most species break. But you defy even when defeat is certain. Why? The commander's answer was simple. Because we are human. And we have nothing left to lose but our chains. Silence filled the chamber once more. The alien's gaze shifted downward, and for the first time, he seemed uncertain. He had fought across countless stars, crushed countless civilizations, but never had he seen eyes like these, eyes that burned not with fear, but with fire. He spoke again, softer now. Perhaps you will last longer than the others. But understand this, the Council has not yet sent its true armies. What you face now is only the first wave. When the full force arrives, your skies will turn black, your oceans will boil, and your world will scream. Even then, will you still fight? The commander did not hesitate. His answer came sharp as steel. Yes. Even then. The alien stared at him for a long time, then finally leaned back in his chair. A strange sound escaped him, something between a laugh and a sigh. Then I pity the galaxy. For if humans fight the way you promise, this war will not end with your extinction. It will end with something far worse. His words left the room colder than before. Outside, explosions shook the ground. Humanity's defenses groaned under the weight of invasion. Yet inside that bunker, a truth had been spoken that could not be undone. The Empire was endless. Its armies were vast. Its power unmatched. But for the first time, one of its soldiers had admitted something no one else dared. Humanity was not like the others. Humanity would not kneel. Humanity would not perish quietly. They would fight, and their fire would spread. The prisoner lowered his head, whispering a final warning before falling silent again. The Council believes in only two choices, obey or perish. But if you refuse both, then the galaxy itself will bleed. The galaxy believed humanity could only defend, that they would dig into their planet like frightened animals and wait for the end, but that illusion shattered when the first human fleets left orbit. They were not large fleets, not compared to the vast armadas of the Empire, but they carried something more dangerous than numbers. They carried intent. Old ships, rusted metal refitted with secret weapons, rose into the void like wolves breaking free from their cage. The alien generals laughed when they saw them, calling them toys, calling them scraps of a dying world, but laughter turned to silence when the first strike hit. A single human vessel, smaller than any warship in the Empire, darted through the chaos like a shadow, moving in ways no alien ship could predict. It fired once, a narrow beam of energy stolen from the captured warship and reshaped by human engineers, and an enemy cruiser twice its size tore apart in a blaze of light. The transmission from the alien fleet was filled with disbelief. Impossible. They cannot adapt our weapons this quickly. But they could. Humanity had taken alien fire and made it their own. In hidden shipyards carved beneath oceans and mountains, they had rebuilt their fleets not to match the Empire, but to wound it, to strike at its heart where it was most vulnerable. And so they did. They did not meet the enemy head-on. They did not try to fight a war of numbers. Instead, they cut supply lines. They raided communications. They hit and vanished before the Empire could respond. Small victories, but each one louder than the last. Entire convoys disappeared. Outposts burned. Captains reported ambushes by ships too fast, too cunning, too relentless. For the first time in living memory, the Empire bled. Across Earth, the news spread like wildfire. People who had hidden in fear now raised their heads in pride. Children who had whispered prayers now shouted songs of defiance. Humanity was no longer surviving, they were striking back. In the alien council, rage boiled. Reports poured in from generals who had lost fleets to mere fragments of Earth's power. Some demanded that the planet be destroyed at once, wiped from existence, but others warned that such destruction might be too late. "They are spreading," one voice said, trembling with fear. "Like fire. Like disease. Every day we wait, they learn more, they grow stronger. This is not a war of conquest. This is a war of infection. And the humans, they are the infection." Meanwhile, in the depths of space, human crews fought with desperation and brilliance. They had no room for error. Every shot mattered, every decision could mean life or death. Yet they fought with a unity the Empire had never seen. Where the Council ruled with fear, humanity moved with choice. Soldiers fought not because they were forced, but because they refused to kneel. And that difference turned scraps of ships into blades sharp enough to cut giants. One battle became legend almost at once. A single human corvette, armed with little more than stolen tech and courage, faced 3 alien destroyers in an asteroid field. Outnumbered, outgunned, they should have been erased. Instead, they wove through the rocks, turning the battlefield into a maze of shadows. One by one, the destroyers fell, until the last one exploded in silence. The corvette limped away scarred and broken, but victorious. Stories like this spread through the galaxy faster than the Empire could silence them. On worlds far from Earth, whispers began to grow. Whispers of humans who refused the Council, who defied the ultimatum, who struck back when no one else dared. The prisoner's warning echoed in every heart: humanity was not like the others. Humanity would fight until the galaxy itself trembled. On Earth, leaders watched the stars with grim determination. Losses were heavy. Cities still burned. Families still mourned. But hope had been reborn, and hope was the most dangerous weapon of all. A commander stood before a crowd of soldiers, his voice steady despite the chaos of war. "They told us to obey or perish. We chose neither. And now we strike. Remember this: every ship we bring down, every outpost we burn, every life we protect, it all tells the galaxy one truth. Humanity is here. Humanity will not vanish. Humanity will fight." The soldiers roared in answer, their voices shaking the walls. Outside, the skies of Earth still glowed with fire, but far beyond the planet, in the endless dark, humanity's mark had been made. The galaxy had underestimated them, and now the price would be paid. Humanity had struck, and the war had changed forever. The galaxy's armies gathered at last, millions of ships from 100 worlds, weapons glowing like stars, engines burning like suns, all converging toward the small blue planet that had dared to defy the Council. Never before had such power been assembled against one enemy, and never before had that enemy been so small. From the bridges of their colossal flagships, alien generals looked down on Earth with cold certainty. This was the end, they told themselves, the final blow that would erase the insult of resistance. Humanity had won small victories, yes, but small victories meant nothing against the weight of an empire. To the galaxy, this was the moment when the last scream of Earth would echo into silence. But on Earth, the silence had already been broken. The captured warship's secrets had been unlocked. In hidden bases across the planet, engineers worked without sleep, their hands building weapons the world had never seen. Artificial intelligence guided fleets of drones faster than any pilot could fly. Energy cores pulsed with strange light, a blend of alien technology and human invention. For the first time, Earth had a fleet not made of scraps, but of fire. They called it Project Dawn, and when the alien armada arrived, Dawn was ready. The first wave of alien ships entered orbit expecting no challenge. Instead, they were met with shadows that moved too quickly to track. Human drones swarmed like locusts, hundreds of them striking in coordinated patterns, each attack guided by a machine mind that calculated faster than any alien commander. Ships that had crushed civilizations for centuries suddenly fell in minutes. The aliens adjusted, pouring more forces forward, but the trap had already closed. Hidden on the far side of the moon, human carriers rose from darkness, unleashing barrages of weapons stolen and remade. The sky lit up with explosions, and for the first time in memory, the Empire hesitated. Panic rippled through the fleet. "They should not have this power," one general screamed. "This world should be ash already." But no one listened, because the impossible was unfolding before their eyes. The humans were not only defending, they were winning. On the ground, soldiers watched the skies in awe as alien warships that once seemed invincible burned like falling stars. Civilians cheered through tears, their voices carried across broken cities. For years they had been told they were small, powerless, nothing compared to the galaxy's giants. Now they watched those giants bleed. Still, the battle was not easy. Alien ships poured in endlessly, their numbers beyond counting. Every victory for humanity came at a cost. Drones were lost faster than they could be replaced. Pilots died by the hundreds, fighting against enemies who had ruled the stars for centuries. Cities were scarred, oceans boiled, the ground itself shook from the force of the weapons above. But humanity held. And then, in the chaos, the true weapon was revealed. From the clouds of smoke, a single ship rose, an enormous human-built flagship, its hull glowing with lines of alien energy, its systems fused with technology stolen from the Empire. At its heart pulsed an AI intelligence unlike anything the galaxy had ever faced. This was the secret the silence had hidden. This was the blade forged in shadows. The ship spoke through every channel, its voice calm and steady. "This is Earth. We do not obey. We do not perish. We endure." And then it struck. A single beam fired from its core, a weapon of such precision that it cut through an alien dreadnought in one shot. The dreadnought exploded, shockwaves tearing through its fleet. Silence fell across the command bridges of the Empire. Fear spread faster than fire. Never had they seen a species rise from nothing to wield such power in so little time. Never had they imagined their own weapons would be turned against them. The tide was shifting, and they knew it. On Earth, the human commander who had once whispered, "Let them," watched the screens with hard eyes. His gamble had worked. The storm had come, and humanity had not broken. Instead, humanity had become the storm. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Whispers of a turning point, whispers of a world that refused the choice of obedience or death. The humans had stood at the edge of extinction and chosen a third path, defiance. The battle raged on, but the outcome was no longer certain. The Empire's endless power had met something it could not crush. The Council's law of obey or perish had met its first true rival. And in that moment, the galaxy changed forever. The war was over, but the silence it left behind was heavier than the sound of battle. Across Earth, cities smoldered like wounded beasts, their skies dark with smoke, their streets lined with ruins where homes once stood. Millions had died, entire nations scarred, oceans poisoned with the wreckage of alien fleets that had burned above them. Humanity had survived, yes, but survival came with a cost written in ash and blood. Soldiers who had fought with unshakable courage now stood among the graves of their comrades, their faces hollow, their hearts heavy. Civilians searched through rubble for the names of loved ones, clinging to hope even when the truth was clear. The price of defiance was carved into every shattered wall, every cratered street, every silent home. And yet, amid the grief, something else stirred, a new understanding, a new power. Because though humanity had paid dearly, the galaxy had paid even more. The endless fleets of the Empire had been broken. The Council's law of obey or perish had been shattered by a species that chose neither. Alien warships once thought invincible now lay in pieces, drifting through the void like broken monuments to arrogance. Worlds that had long bowed under the council's shadow now whispered of Earth with awe and fear. For the first time in centuries, the Empire had bled, and the wound would not heal quickly. In the council chambers, arguments raged. Some demanded vengeance, to gather what remained of their armadas and strike again, but others shook their heads, their voices trembling. "You do not understand," one said. "To fight them again is to invite ruin. These humans are not like us. They do not obey fear. They do not break. They become stronger in fire." And though the council tried to speak of power, beneath their words lay something darker: fear. They had built an empire on obedience, but Earth had proven there was another way, and if other worlds followed that path, the galaxy itself could burn. On Earth, leaders stood before their people with heavy hearts. Victory had been claimed, but celebration felt hollow. The commander who had once told his council, "Let them," now spoke to a world still reeling from fire. "We did not choose this war," he said, his voice carried across broken cities. "We did not ask for it. But we were given a choice, kneel or die. And we chose neither. We fought. We paid the price. And because of that, humanity still stands." His words echoed through the ruins, filling people with pride even as tears filled their eyes. Because they had endured. They had faced the storm of the galaxy and survived. Children who had cowered in basements now walked into sunlight. Families who had thought themselves lost now held each other tighter than ever before. The scars would not heal quickly, but the fire within humanity burned brighter than before. In the ruins of captured ships, scientists continued their work. Alien technology hummed under human hands, reshaped and reborn into something new. What had been used to enslave would now be used to protect. And in secret, new fleets began to rise, not to conquer, but to ensure Earth would never again face such terror unprepared. Humanity had stepped onto the stage of the galaxy, and they would not step back. Across distant worlds, whispers spread faster than the council could silence them. Whispers of Earth, whispers of humans, whispers of a choice that defied the law. Slaves looked to the stars with hope. Soldiers of the Empire questioned the orders they had once obeyed without thought. The infection the prisoner had warned of had already begun, the infection of defiance. Humanity had lit a fire, and the galaxy would never be the same. And yet, in the quiet of one ruined city, a boy stood among the rubble, staring at the sky where alien ships had once burned. His mother knelt beside him, holding his hand. "Is it over?" he asked softly. She looked at the smoke still rising, the scars across the horizon, and then she looked into his eyes. "The battle is over," she said. "But the war for the galaxy's soul has only just begun." Her words carried a truth greater than she knew. Because while Earth had paid a terrible price, while families mourned and soldiers wept, something greater had been born. The galaxy had seen a species rise from silence, endure the storm, and strike with fire. They had been told to obey or perish, but humanity had chosen neither. And now, in the ashes of war, the galaxy itself obeyed humanity. Not through fear, but through respect, through awe, through the undeniable truth that a new power had risen. The price had been paid, but the reward was clear. Humanity had survived, humanity had fought, and humanity had changed the galaxy forever.